everybody. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Hey, Betsy Coe and Greg Clark. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yes.
Great. And I decide to coordinate a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. The blue. It's cold. It's that time between period where it's not freezing winter, but it's not super warm. So the house doesn't have the furnace going. So it's colder. So I'm cold in
the house doesn't have the furnace going. That would be you don't have the furnace going.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I said it for
So that's a WikiTree hoodie, zip up hoodie. You have on, Greg.
You're wearing. I do. I can zip it up or up or down.
Nice.
I can be the blue arrow.
The blue arrow. Yours is not though, Betsy. What's on yours?
No, actually, this is my my DePaul fleecy. That's where I went to graduate school.
But you are rocking the orange. That's cool.
But I am. Oh yeah. I would not dream of not rocking the orange.
Okay, Betsy Coe was at Roots Tech.
Yes.
As you all saw, doing crazy good job with all the LiveCasts and all the. She did all the stuff at Roots Tech. Greg was on a cruise. Where's your sunburn, Greg?
I see it. I see you got some sun.
I might have got a little bit of. I stayed in the shade most of the time. I don't like being just out in the sun.
Yeah. I noticed you were wearing swim trunks and a tropical shirt a lot.
I did.
Yeah.
I did like to wear my tropical shirts.
The important thing is, did the spousal unit have a very good time?
She did. Yeah.
She did. That's important.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. That's important. Good morning and welcome to the Saturday morning LiveCast. We're just catching up because Betsy Coe and I got to meet each other.
I know. It was so exciting.
Did you guys get to hug each other?
Yes,
we did.
Aww.
We did.
That's good.
It was so busy. It was so busy. And I'm so excited that you took care of everything because I was not able to join in the LiveCast. And I'm sure you guys didn't even notice, so that's fine.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
That is
not you guys, the people out there. Okay, let's go. We had a fun time. WikiTree booth was covered up the whole WikiTree weekend. I think it was the WikiTree Tech, right?
Yeah, that's right. Not Roots Tech, WikiTree Tech.
Yeah, lots of orange shirts wandering around the place. It was cool. Very nice to see. So we do have some stuff going on this morning. We've got lots of people in our chat. Who was here first? Was it Brian? No, Mickey Baisley
from Central New York.
That was that. Is that really the first one? I was late getting in here.
Yeah.
Nicola Rose is here. Hillary Gadsby is here. The sun is shining. Trying to come out here in northern Wales. Hi, everybody. Hillary Gadsby, not on my side of the hill yet, but good to know it's on the way. Well, we hope the sun gets on over there in Wales. Let's see. And Hillary and they're just chatting. Victor's chatting. Jump in on the connections discussions. I think today is the first time I've been connected to one of the featured through my stepmom.
Oh.
Ooh. Judith Fry is here, warm and rainy Kentucky. Judith, I'm wondering if you have any connections to any of the question of the week stuff. We'll find out in a minute. Donna Gerber is here. Chris Dahl, Jay is here. Judith Fry, Chris Wine, Yoke, Hillary King, Ohio. Let's see. Lisa Gervais. Hey, Lisa. Susie Carta, Kathy Bauer, John Tyner, Chief Family Genealogy Officer. That's a good title.
That's a great title.
I'm that. Are you that? Are you guys that in your family? Yeah, chief genealogist. Yeah. And do they put you at a separate table now when you have dinners? There's been a lot of memes and stuff out since Roots Tech of people saying stuff about talking too much. And I actually asked after watching the recording of Survivor is how fast would a genealogist be kicked off of Survivor? And what for? And what for? Interesting question and lots of fun answers in my Facebook feed. I thought that was funny. And somebody said they got stuff for wearing orange. Ooh. WikiTree at Survivor.
Yeah.
I want to play Survivor and wear all WikiTree stuff.
I was gonna wear my orange WikiTree t-shirt around the ship one day.
Yeah.
and just to see if there was any other WikiTreeers who would spot me. But it was too warm.
Oh yeah,
was too warm. It wasn't one of those wickaways or anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know that I bet they could get some of those in the
yeah,
in the
like
store.
a tank top. You could take
Yeah.
a tank top.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicky Blanco saying good morning from Chile. Mary Sleppy's here. Hey Mary. June Budka. Hello from New Hampshire. Let's see. I think I've gotten everybody. Nope. Robert Cowan's here from Dorset. Woo-hoo. Karen Lorenz is here from Detroit. Christine Miller, Melody Neighbors, Chris Ferriello is here. And I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor games would be fun. That would be fun. Well, we could have a Survivor. Somebody come up with a game on WikiTree where we could pretend that we're on a desert island together. You wouldn't, Greg, you wouldn't be spotted in the Netherlands on April the 27th.
Oh, because everyone wears orange?
On the 27th of April in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Yes.
Why is that? Do we know?
Probably because it's a national day.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have to get myself together here. Do you have any feuds in your family lines? Any
feuds?
Not
that I know of.
No.
Greg? Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Am I back? My computer, my main computer has died, so that's kind of stupid. So I'm on Wi-Fi right now. Do you guys have any feuds in your family?
No, not that I know of.
That you can talk about. That you're allowed to talk about.
No. My grandmother used to go to the cottage for the summer with her sisters, and at this point they were all widows, and so that would work out well usually. But sometimes one of them would get annoyed at one of the other ones. So there'd be like a little mini feud for a couple months when they wouldn't talk to each other. But other than that.
That's funny. That's funny. In my hometown of Greenville, South Carolina, if anybody is watching this from Greenville, you as soon as I say the words I'm getting ready to say, everyone in Greenville knows about this feud. There was a restaurant out on the Easley Highway, and there were two brothers involved in the restaurant. Well, something happened. They got mad at each other. So one of the brothers left that restaurant, bought the property next door, built an identical restaurant with an identical name, and had the restaurant on the property exactly next door. And it still goes on to this day. It's been going on forever. That feud. That's a feud.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh,
so with the question of the week is, do you have any family feuds? Are there any family feuds in your tree? Now, a couple of people got a little bit close to living people. Like we're talking about feuds with living people. And I'm not really going to cover those because I don't think that's appropriate. And because I'm on my laptop, I'm also going to be scrolling. It's hard for me to switch between screens when I'm on my laptop. So I'm going to zoom down here. Somebody already picked the best answer, and that was yes, the Hatfields and the McCoys, the 1880s, the 1890s. That feud's still going on, ain't it? Did it really end? I don't think it ever ended. We still talk about it a lot.
We do talk about it.
So this is from Chuck Sinclair, who says, my third time's great-grandparents were Preston Head and Melinda Hatfield Head. Melinda's parents were my fourth great-grandparents, John Wiley Hatfield and Matilda Helm Hatfield. So the Hatfields and the McCoys. That's pretty crazy. Now I'm going to zoom past this. Apologize. Is this the one? 12 children. 1940 left his farmland to be divided among his 6 boys, and nothing was left with 6 girls. So I was a little bit confused by the discussion of this. But I think some of these people may be living, and so I'm just going to show you the picture, and we're going to move on from that one. I apologize. I just don't want to talk about anything with living people right now because that's not nice for me, for us. But it's great to see your story. If you want to read about it, you can go ahead and read about it. My Clements family were involved in the Reese Townsend feud, Colorado feud, Texas. And the very first name I go and click on for these, this will take me over here to this. And it comes up with a name that is William Clements. Oh,
William Dillard Clements. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, William Dillard Clements. Sorry, I can't do much of anything on my laptop. So that's one of my names, Dillard. Yeah. So I'm thinking that he was named after one of the people who was involved in the Alamo. I had an ancestor, not an ancestor, but an uncle ancestor who was involved in the Alamo. And I'm thinking that people just got named Dillard because of that in Texas. So I don't think it's any connection to us. But there's a lot of really great stuff and some great profiles. I'm hoping that this is somebody's well-written information for this, and they don't give any other sources other than the United States Census. It would be great to get in there and do some upgrading of the sources for this information, but it's great. Talks about all of this. I was really expecting you two to have a feud or two in your house.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're a lot less, you're more boring than I thought, people. Oh, there's a lag too. There's a lag between me and you.
That's right. I was going to say, if I could get far further back in my Irish roots, then maybe there'd be some feuds back there I could find.
I don't know about Irish feuds. Did you watch the movie with, what was the recent movie? That was a really good movie about the Troubles. Let's see. My husband's Van Winkle line. They have an area of Berea, Kentucky. So many of these they're talking about is that there were people in Kentucky, which is why I was asking. Hillary Gadsby's got one over here. Let's see. My grandfather fell out with his brother, but I don't know what it was all about. They were both in the Merchant Navy, and I think it was about something that happened when one of them was away. Ooh. Let's see. Hillary, my grandfather, fell out with his brother as well. I don't know what it was about either. Just rumors that it was something financial. Money often gets in the way, or marriage. You know, what was the story behind the Hatfields and McCoys? Anne Fiordalisi. Gosh,
Fiordalisi.
Thank you, Fiordalisi. There's always is and will always be a feud in my family, and it's going on today since 1930. Again, we're talking about stuff that's very recent, so that's a little bit touchy for me for having living stuff up there. But you guys can go and read it. I'm just not going to talk about it here this morning. It may be the case that in a feud between the de Rothsleys and the de Pertons of Staffordshire in the 1300s, my possible biological family ancestor, Hugh de Rothsley, murdered my possible adopted family ancestor. Woo! That's murder will do it. Sorry, I'm still not healthy yet. Murder will do it. That'll cause a feud. Well, if there are people still standing that can be involved. Yeah, and this is the one that I thought was the it's a really good story, but I really don't want to read it online or read it on the show. I've been working with Karen Osborne, the Osborne Goss family feud in the Kentucky Hills. Again, Kentucky mentioned, which lasted from 1864 to 1900. Bad Bill Osborne is suspected of killing at least 20 people himself. The story starts with Stephen Osborne. So we could check that one out too. That's a good long time ago to talk about a feud. And we have a nickname, Bad Bill, and he killed 20 people. Now, in my book, killing 20 people is a serial killer, right?
Yeah. It's so more than just bad.
Family? Yeah.
Getting off easy with bad.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, really. Oh, so and this is kind of cute, not cute, but this is like my hometown where the two brothers had the feud, and the guy bought property next door and built the restaurant next door. Two dads had aunts that lived across the street from each other, and they had once been close. I found through a couple of censuses where they lived together and next door to each other. They had purposely moved to two houses across the street, but all my memories were of them not talking to each other. Yeah. Do you have aunts and uncles in your family that don't talk? A lot of that stuff goes on too. So there's lots and lots and lots of great things to look at for the question of the week, and do so and enjoy them. And I'm going to move on to Greg, and I'm going to sit back, I think, and enjoy this live cast, because I'm not firing on all my pistons yet.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's
your story about the
okay. That's okay. I'll survive.
Yeah, you take care, Megs. But hang around. Your story about the restaurants reminds me. There's one restaurant that we pass every day going into town, and it used to be called Gwen and Eddie's, and it was owned by a husband and wife. But then apparently they split up. But the husband kept the restaurant, and he renamed it Just Eddie's. So, which was, but it took, the sad thing is it took me like a year to figure out why it was renamed Just Eddie's, and then someone said, well, Gwen's not around anymore.
And not only am I not doing too healthily, my internet's not, because I just missed that whole thing. But you could tell me after.
Oh, I'll tell you after. Okay. Well, maybe it wasn't that amusing anyways, but anyways, interesting.
All I heard was your story about the two. Yeah. Go for it. I'm laggy.
So the question of the week was all about feuds, and what better way to solve or maybe start a feud is with a boxing match. So there you go. So boxers are the theme for this week for the profiles, and the reason why we're celebrating boxers is the recent passing on February 1st, I believe it was, of Carl Weathers, who was famous. He was an actual boxer as well as an actor. And of course, one of his most famous roles, or one iconic roles, was as Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. And so those are the two, and they're also the two that are fighting each other out in the Connection Finder contest challenge this week.
Connection Combat.
Yeah. Connection Combat. Yes, that's right. Yes. So who are you closest to? Are you closer to Carl Weathers or Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone? So let us know, because that's the first pairing of roundup.
And Mags, are you able to help with scoring, or should I can do it?
If I open anything else on my computer, it will crash.
Okay. All right. So I'll tally score from the chat. So
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will cheer you on.
Thank you. Okay, so everybody in the chat, tell us whether you're close to Carl or Sylvester.
I will see if I can post the chat stuff for you guys. You got your first one.
Yeah, the first one is Carl Weathers versus Sylvester Stallone. So starting with Carl, who did pass away 1st of February 2024 at the age of 27. I was going to say 26, a little more than 20, 76 in Los Angeles. And he had been born on the 14th of January 1948 in New Orleans. Of course, he's a prolific American actor, director, and professional American football linebacker, best known for his roles as Apollo Creed. Also played Colonel Al Dillon in Predator, Action Jackson in the movie called Action Jackson, Chubbs Peterson in Happy Gilmore, and Little Nicky. Combat Carl in the Toy Story franchise. I love how they got all these great voices in Toy Story. I didn't realize he was Combat Carl in the toy soldier and Grief Karga in 3 seasons of The Mandalorian. And I'm sure if Chris hasn't already put that in the chat, he would have, if I hadn't read it first. His father was a day laborer. His early life in New Orleans was difficult, but he earned an athletic scholarship to St. Augustine, a Catholic high school, and was noted an all-round athlete, involved in boxing, football, gymnastics, judo, soccer, and wrestling. Then moved to California. So unfortunately, he had an ankle injury which sidelined him, and then he went on to earn his master's degrees in his true calling, which was theater arts. And I like a good quote. His quote, which ends his profile: "Your thoughts shape your reality. Choose positivity and watch your world transform into something beautiful." I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice. And fighting him in our Roundup challenge is Sylvester Stallone, who was born in the 40s, still alive. So because of privacy, some of his stuff is hidden, except, of course, when you read the bio, which says his exact birth date, which is July 6th, 1946. I always get a kick out of that. Because of obviously, this first part here, the born in 1940s, that's because he's a living notable, and the WikiTree algorithm, the way it works is it has to privatize it, or generalize it. But of course, in the biography, you can put anything. And as a notable, your birth date is fair game. So people can celebrate on your birthday if you're notable. Of course, he was born as Michael Sylvester Gaudenzio Stallone. He was the son of Francesco Stallone and Jacqueline Frances Labofish. Firstborn, grew up in Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan. I wonder if he knew the devil of Hell's Kitchen, but but since that's just a superhero, that's probably not. But anyways, interesting. What I didn't realize is that because he was born and they used the forceps, that's what caused the nerve damage and the paralysis to his lower left side of his face, which also was a contributing factor to the slurred speech that he's always had. Because that way he speaks, it's actually because of his birth.
Oh my!
Isn't that interesting?
That is, yeah.
So, but he fought through all that, and despite that, went on to something like acting, where your voice is important, and you have being able to speak clearly enough that people understand you. So. Sounds like school was not a fun place for him because his schoolmates called him Stinky, and of course bullied him because of his paralysis and slurred speech. But that one way to deal with that is he turned to the gym, became interested in bodybuilding, and his career he showed them basically.
Yep.
Went on to Miami-Dade College, went to Europe, studied in Switzerland. Began career on the stage, small parts. He played Rocky Balboa, of course, and that really skyrocketed. His career took off after that. And anyways, very nice, very well done profile. I won't go through all the details because there's just so much. It's really well done, and he's had quite an amazing career. The profile doesn't pull any punches.
You had to go there.
I had to go there, because some of his movies did really well, and some of them were maybe stinkers, or not as well. But one thing it did mention that he has a loyal fan base, and so even if the critics didn't like his movies, they often still did get lots of audience just because people like to go see them. So like The Expendables, for example, may not it did well, but it may not be the most critically acclaimed movie, but enjoyable popcorn movie sort of thing. So good stuff. So there we have it. Now, did we lose Mags altogether? I think we might.
Maybe she's trying to connect to another device or another means of internet.
Okay.
So, do you want?
Sure. Let's see what we have.
Okay. So for Carl Weathers, we have 13. Mm-hmm. Wow, this has not happened before. Actually, they both have 13. It's an even split.
Wow, excellent.
Oh, wait a minute. No, Chris Ferriello just tipped it. Okay. Wait, Chris was, never mind.
He's the same for both, yeah.
He's the same for both. Okay, so it is 13-13.
Wow.
And I myself am closer to Sylvester.
Are you? Okay, well, there you go. Because I was closer to Carl, so now that makes it totally even. Now, are you cousins to either of them?
I didn't have a chance to check cousins.
Okay, I'm not cousins. Okay, so there we go. Okay, wow, it was a draw.
I don't think that's happened before.
No, it's often it's a blowout. Like one person is a lot closer.
Exactly. It's like 19-2.
Yeah. Okay, so the next two profiles are the Ali family, Muhammad Ali and his daughter Layla. So we'll start with Layla, since she's the one we're probably less familiar with. And of course, if you're cousins with one, you're probably cousins with the other one.
Yep.
And yeah, I suspect most people will be closer to Cassius or Muhammad, and then get to Layla through him. But I could be wrong. I'd be interested in finding out anyone who goes the opposite direction, is closer to Layla and then connects to Muhammad. Layla,
mother-daughter duo makes the connection game.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Very convoluted.
Welcome back, Megs. Hope your device works.
I got to figure this out. I will.
You will, no problem. I was able to connect briefly with only an iPad from the cruise ship a couple times, so I was surprised that it actually worked that way. But you know,
were you wearing orange when you did it?
What's that?
Were you wearing orange when you connected?
I was.
Oh, can I say ask something of people in the chat? People in the chat are just saying Muhammad, which doesn't help.
Oh no, Layla. It's either Layla or Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
No, Muhammad would be the father. If they were closer to the daughter, they'd put Layla.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Okay. That makes sense. Right. I too am illness compromised.
Yeah, and I am not sick. I'm just regular dopey. So it's I have no excuse for anything stupid that comes out of my mouth today. Just regularness. Anyways, Layla, widely regarded as one of the greatest women boxers of all time. She was been active from 1999 to 2007 and undefeated in 24 bouts. Held the WBC, WIBA, IWBF, and the IBA female super middleweight titles, and the IWBF light heavyweight title, and appeared on numerous television shows, including Dancing with the Stars and The Celebrity Apprentice, and also authored books on health, wellness, and cooking. Very neat. Now, I don't watch Dancing with the Stars, but I'm wondering if she is as light as a butterfly when she's dancing. Born December 30th, 1977 in Miami Beach. Daughter, of course, the legendary boxer Muhammad Ali and his third wife. Raised Muslim but no longer practices Islam. Began her career as a professional boxer in 1999, as the summary said at the top. She remained undefeated with 24 wins, including 21 knockouts. That's pretty impressive. And there we go. So, short and sweet little bio there. And then her father, her famous father, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Marcellus Clay, was the name he was given when he was born on the 17th of January, 1942 in Louisville, Jefferson, Kentucky. Passed away, again, this is one of those weird ones. He passed away the 3rd of June, 2016 at the age of 74, which again is too soon, but 2016, that's 8 years ago, but it does not seem that long ago in my mind that he's passed away. Like time just seems to be morphed weird that way. Anyways, known as the greatest, was an American world heavyweight boxing champion in 1966, and then he was stripped of his titles, threatened with prison, and lost prime years of his career in his ultimately successful fight for his rights as an American citizen. When he was vindicated, he re-won the world championship in 1974 and was the first heavyweight to win the championship 3 times. He's considered the greatest heavyweight boxer in the history of the sport, in a position which gave him a platform for speaking truth to power. So, yes, very, very impressive. Named for his father, who was also Cassius Marcellus Clay, and named in the honor of the 19th century Kentucky slave owner turned abolitionist politician, Cassius Marcellus Clay. And we have talked about this profile or other profiles connected to this, because I remember talking about that, how it was based, his naming was based on a politician who became an abolitionist and fought for the rights descendant of slaves, of course, and with some Irish and English ancestry also. He was an Olympic gold medalist in the 1960 and then won his first world heavyweight championship in 64. And then it's about that time became affiliated with the Nation of Islam and changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. And that presented some challenges. And then, but when he died, President Obama referred to his quote that's the Ali I came to know as an age, not just as skilled a poet on the mic as he was a fighter in the ring, but as a man who fought for what was right. A man who fought for us, stood with the king and Mandela, stood up when it was hard, and spoke out when others wouldn't. His fight outside the ring would cost him his title and his public standing, but it would earn him enemies on the left and the right, make him reviled, and nearly send him to jail. But he stood his ground, and his victory in the end helped us get used to the America we recognize today. So very, very important and very impressive. The profile is really well done. It details lots of stuff, including that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, which was common for those with head trauma, like those in boxing, and then passed away from respiratory failure in 2016. And I love the photos along the side here. There's one with Ronald Reagan, I think fake punching him on the chin. And then him punching the Beatles and them each sort of going, falling like dominoes. And that's cute little one, a little Betsy Jane Greathouse. Little sweet little old lady. So I'm thinking that's Muhammad, and would that be his brother or I don't know, or friend who's helping Betsy Jane along? I'd love to know what the story is behind that photo, but
right.
That'd be really sweet. Anyways, so how did we do?
Now this one was a blow up.
Yes.
Let's see, 16 for Muhammad and 1 for Layla.
Oh, there is one person who's closer to Layla.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Crystal James, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
And as for me,
Mm-hmm.
need to wait. Would Layla? She wouldn't have a different. I don't see her on my list. Maybe that can't be. Oh no. Okay, I see her. I'm closer to Muhammad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Megs, are you closer to Muhammad? Or you haven't looked yet? Can Megs hear us?
I don't know. I can pull up Megs' profile.
That's okay. Okay. And cousins, I'm cousins to both. Are you cousins to?
Let's see. Am I cousins to? I am. He's my 22nd cousin.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she'd be your 22nd cousin once removed.
Exactly. Exactly. Through the De Mortimers.
So he's my 24th cousin. She's my 25th cousin. So interesting. Okay. So you're closer. Cool. Okay, next pair, our rivals, Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney. Okay. So Jack Dempsey was born in Manassas in Colorado in the 1895, 24th of June, 1895. Passed away the 31st of May, 1983 at the age of 87 in New York City. So he was the son of Hiram Dempsey and Mary Smoot. Was a world heavyweight boxing champion from 1919 to 1926. In 1950, he was voted the greatest fighter of the past 50 years. So that's the first half of the 1900s. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. And he was a former friend and business partner of Bobby Joe Menzies. He was nicknamed the Manasseh Mauler. Manasseh Mauler. Manasseh being the town he was born in Colorado. And yeah, heavyweight champ from 1919 to 1926. He became the champ when he knocked out other legitimate contenders, including former light heavyweight champion Battling Levinsky and Gunboat Smith. They always have fun names, eh?
Yeah.
So yes, so put in the chat, who you're close to, whether you're closer
Yeah,
to Dempsey
the
or
votes
Tunney.
are coming in.
Excellent, good stuff. Okay. So this profile is really well done. So there's a nice picture of him in his prime there, Jack Dempsey.
Mm-hmm.
And little pair of boxing gloves on his gravestone there. And it talks about his different, it talks about his career. He left home at 16, traveled on freight trains, fought to earn money. So that's how he sort of got a little bit of his training. He opened it when he finished. Let's see. So he went on, he had a rematch. He fought with this guy, James Tunney, a classic punch. So he was known as a boxer. Tunney was known as a puncher. And so Tunney, let's see, he lost the title to Tunney when one of his combinations befuddled Dempsey. They got a rematch. Tunney was outboxing him and got dropped in the 7th round. Then he apparently, in one of boxing's most controversial moments, Dempsey instinctively hovered over Tunney, waiting for him to get up so he could get, as soon as he started moving to get up, he would punch him. Apparently they didn't like that. And that's when they introduced the rules. So they had to send him to, when one got knocked down, the other person had to be sent to a neutral corner, so away from the ring, so to give the guy a chance to get up, to make it more of a fair fight. And then it was estimated that Tunney was down for 14 seconds before he rose up. And that's what began the long count in boxing. You go 1, 2, the ref is counting, to get, and if they don't get up in
I never knew any of this. That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
I'm Dempsey. I'm closer to Dempsey too.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And he's also a cousin.
Ah, neat. And then after that final fight, which did go to Tunney by decision, which means that it wasn't a knockout, but the judges had to rule on who won the fight based on whatever criteria they have. Tunney did win that, and then Dempsey retired after that and opened a restaurant for himself.
What was it called?
It was probably called Dempsey's. It doesn't say, and then there's no picture of the restaurant. That's too bad. The restaurant was open for 39 years. It closed in 74. He passed away in 83.
Huh.
And was inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame 7 years after his death. So interesting. So the competitor, the one who knocked him out, or knocked him down and took the title from him, is James Joseph Gene Tunney. Born, again, before the turn of the century, 25th of May, 1897, New York City, and passed away at the age of 81 on 7th of November, 1978 in Greenwich, Connecticut. Huh. Or do they call it Greenwich?
No, Greenwich.
They still call it Greenwich.
That's here where I grew up, yeah.
Okay. Because it is funny, because, different places pronounce the exact same place name different ways.
Oh, I know. Is it like Paris? Is there the Paris in America? Is that some? There's a French name that's like.
Well, Paris. If you were in France, you would call it
right.
Paris, but
yeah.
But there's lots of names like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was born. Competed from 1915 to 1928, held the world heavyweight title from 26 to 28, and the light heavyweight title from 22 to 23. So presumably between 23 and 26, he got heavier because he could no longer hold the light heavyweight title. Born the second of 7 children from an Irish longshoreman from the working class. At the age of 10, his father presented him with his first set of boxing gloves. Okay. And then he learned to fight on the streets, and then started fighting with the Greenwich Village Athletic Club at nights. Attended Catholic schools and LaSalle Academy. First got paid at the age of 18. He earned $18 to fight a more seasoned opponent while in the Marines. Interesting. Joined in 1918, was stationed in France, and earned a good conduct medal. Then he fought 68 professional fights, losing only once to Harry Greb while fighting as a light heavyweight in 22. And it still went 15 rounds before he lost. But Greb broke his nose, but could not knock him out. He redeemed himself the next year, where he fought and won against Greb on a majority decision. So anyways, again, a nice long profile which goes into lots of detail about lots of things. The medals he won during the war, and then also other details about other fights and stuff. So quite nice. He was elected as the Ring Magazine's first ever Fighter of the Year in 1928, and then elected to the World Boxing Hall of Fame in 1980 and the International Boxing Hall of 1990. There we go.
And as usual, our hive mind in the chat has come through with lots of information about Jack Dempsey's restaurant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Jack Dempsey's.
Including its location. Mm-hmm. And then Victor was talking about Vienna and Cairo in southern Illinois, which also made me think of Milan, Michigan. That was the one that I personally encountered.
Oh.
It's spelled the same as the city in Italy, but they call it Milan.
Oh, instead of Milan.
Yes.
Ah. So how would you pronounce Vienna and Cairo?
I'm wondering about. I don't know.
Would they say Cairo for Cairo? Maybe, but I don't know how you'd mispronounce Vienna. Not mispronounce. How you'd pronounce it differently.
Surely those good Illinois people eat Vienna sausages. I've heard it Vienna.
Oh, Vienna.
Yeah. I mean, since it's southern Illinois.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Vienna. Yeah.
Vienna.
And Caro. Steve Spencer says.
Interesting.
Huh.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Never did not know. Okay.
Let's see. Okay. So Jack Dempsey came out ahead with 18. And Tunney only had 4. There were a bunch of ties, so that's for the higher numbers there. And then for me, it's a tie for me.
Okay.
You're going to ask me if I'm cousin. I'm not a cousin to Tunney, and am I a cousin to Dempsey? But I am a cousin to Dempsey.
Okay.
16th cousin, 3 times removed.
Okay, there we go. Mags, which one are you closer to? Oh, I think you said Dempsey, didn't you? You said Dempsey already, yeah. Okay. So Dempsey wins this fight.
Dempsey.
So the next 2 profiles are both Australians, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
James Leslie Darcy. So put either Darcy or Rose down. James Leslie Darcy or Lionel Edmund Rose. So James Leslie Darcy or Les Darcy, born on Halloween, 1895 in Stradbroke, near Woodville in New South Wales, Australia, 1895. It passed away young, very, very young, 24th of May, 1917, at age 21 in Memphis, Tennessee. But he was the Australian boxing champion. He held the Australian middleweight and heavyweight champion titles at the same time. He was inducted into the Sports Australia Hall of Fame many years after his death in 1985, and the Australian National Boxing Hall of Fame in 2003. And numerous articles and books written about his life are listed there. And it doesn't say how he passed away so young. He's buried with other members of his family at the East Maitland Cemetery in New South Wales. But yeah, he passed away in Tennessee, but was buried in Australia. So, I should have gone into the Wikipedia article to find out. But I'll leave it to one of our WikiTreeers. I was going to say Wikitreeers to delve into this and tell us how he passed away so young. While I tell you about the second Australian whose profile we're talking about, Lionel Edmund Rose, a member of the British Empire. 1948 to 2011. Born the 21st of June, first day of summer, 1948 in Jackson Track, Victoria, Australia. Passed away just in 2011, 8th of May, at age 62 in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. He was the first Indigenous Australian to win a World Boxing Championship in 1968, and he was only 19 at the time. He beat the bantamweight Fighting Harada in Tokyo, Japan, and the first Indigenous Australian to be named as Australian of the Year, also in 1968. So that's very impressive. He was born to Roy Rose, who himself was a skilled fighter, and Regina Rose. Those are his parents. The 21st of June. The settlement where he was born was just 3 miles from Labertouche, where he went to school until he was when he was aged 8. He was born in a 1-room tin hut and then moved to a 2-room weatherboard house when he was 10. He did not attend school very often. It says he had a poor work ethic and only committed to his love of boxing. And then as an amateur, he trained under Frank Oakes, won the Australian Amateur Championship in 1963 when he was only 15 years old. And then in 1964, he was the runner-up in the Bantamweight Championship, and he just missed it by this much to getting into the Olympic Games in 1964. But then his boxing career is detailed in Wikipedia, 53 fights altogether. His trainer is Jack Rennie. And in 1968, he was also, so he won the championship in 1966, and then in 1968, he was awarded the MBE for his services to boxing and successfully defended his world title on 2 more occasions until he eventually did lose it to another fighter. It always happens, right? You can't be on top forever, so someone has to eventually pass the crown on. And that happened to him in 1969 in Mexico. After his boxing career, he became a successful businessman, then suffered a stroke in 2007, sadly. Passed away in 2010. Or 2011, I should say. There we go. So neat. And there's a little statue that was erected for him in Victoria.
Huh.
Neat. It's neat. I like how, and it's neat that they have a picture of him, in his prime when he was, when he would have been a champion and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And you can
Chris
see
Fariolo. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so laggy. I shouldn't even try and talk. He died. Darcy died from septicemia and medical complications. It's not a nice death.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, so I wonder if he was in an accident or something and then got infected.
You wonder if maybe he had some injuries from fighting. What was he doing in Memphis? Look that up, please. What was he doing in Memphis?
Yeah, interesting. Oh, that's too bad. I mean, that's way too young. Anyways, how did our WikiTreeers do?
16 for Darcy and 1 for Rose.
Only 1.
Yes, and Victor was saying that he thought that Rose was going to be the closer connection based on the surname, but it was not.
No. Yeah. Well, with the indigenous roots, we probably don't have that many Indigenous Australians on WikiTree yet. So your best bet would be through other connections, probably, right? Through CC7.
Right. Let's see. So for me, wait a minute. Darcy is closer for me, 22 degrees.
Darcy closer for you too, Megs?
Yes.
And either of them cousins?
Darcy is not.
No.
And Rose, no, neither for me.
Okay. Moving on. Travelers is how I group the next pair, because they both they were both born and died in different countries. They died in a different country than they were born in. In fact, they didn't.
Okay.
They boxed in different countries than they were born in fact. So starting with John Sholto Douglas. Douglas, it was my birth name. So I thought, and I am a distant cousin, not as close as, so he's not. We're not like this, but interesting. A Douglas, John Sholto Douglas, who was also known as the 9th Marquess of Queensberry, was born in Florence, Tuscany, in what became Italy. Italy wasn't a country yet in 1844, so that's why it's Florence, Tuscany. But in what would become Italy, 20th of July, 1844. Passed away at the age of 55, 31st January 1900 in London, England. He was a British nobleman, remembered for his atheism, his outspoken views, and for lending his name to the Queensberry rules that form the basis of modern boxing. And also, he had a part to play in the downfall of the Irish author and Oscar Wilde, which is so it's a very interesting read, this profile. So this guy here, born in Florence, in the 20th of July, 1844. His father died. He joined the Royal Navy as a cadet and trained aboard the gunnery ship, the HMS Illustrious. And then he went on to the Britannia, became a midshipman and promoted to sub-lieutenant. Finally discharged from the Royal Navy in 1864. Then graduated from Cambridge University. And he was also an amateur boxer, and one of the finest amateur boxers of his time at one point. And then he went on to tour and promote the sport of boxing. And the main outcome of this tour was the development of the rules of boxing, which were named for him. The Queen's. He didn't necessarily make the rules, he didn't write them up, but he lent his name to them because of his prestige, because he was a Marquess, which is a royal title, or it's a nobility. It's a title of nobility, which is, let me think, it's above just a regular lord, below a prince. So it's somewhere in there. I'm not sure whether it's above or below a viscount. Anyways.
Viscount's a pretty high rank, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I think it's, but it is above the Lord and Lady, because I remember at one point, I think in Downton Abbey, the middle sister ended up marrying a Marquess, so her title was officially higher than Lady Mary, who was the older sister. So.
Oh no!
So
that would start a feud.
Well, it was the only thing that she ever had where she beat her sister.
Yes, right.
In the end, they let her have it. So I mean, you've heard of, even I have heard of the Queensberry rules for boxing. I had no idea what they are. I don't know what they are, but this is the guy. But it goes on. It also talks about how his connection with Oscar Wilde. Well, he wasn't connected with Oscar Wilde, but one of his sons associated with him, and the dad, this guy, obviously did not like that, and so took him to court.
And reading the profile, though, it talks about how he was divorced because of adultery and the rules around adultery. So isn't it a bit hypocritical to try and
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. But anyways, so it's very anyways, interesting person. Not sure.
And who do we talk about more in our lives these days than Oscar Wilde? Yeah. We know more about Oscar Wilde than we do John Sholto Douglas.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And I'm closer to Douglas, so.
Are you? Okay, cool. And so am I. And I'm James Archibald McLarnon, though, born in 1907, 19 December in Hillsborough, Ireland, and passed away the 20th of October 2004 at the age of 96. I think he wins for the most long-lived of our profiles this week, in Richland in Washington, U.S. But he moved to Canada. So here's our Canadian content.
Gotta have one.
Gotta have some Canadian content.
Yeah.
His father was from Dublin. He moved to Alberta, Canada, worked on cattle ranches, returned to Ireland when he opened a butcher shop, and here he met and married his mother. The father opened a secondhand furniture shop, and then he ran into a former professional boxer, Charles Pop Foster, who eventually became his manager. And then it talks about, this is a really neat profile, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but it sort of reads almost like the Rocky movie. You know, it details his career. There's even pictures of his training. Like, this is really, really nicely done. Little snippets of home life there. So very cool. Tough times in his life. The best part was one of the best parts of his when he got his championship was that his 71-year-old father was there to see it.
Oh,
isn't that neat? Or when he was honored for something, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Anyways, really nicely done profile here for someone, a professional boxer. After he retired from boxing, he became an actor, and he worked with Spencer Tracy and Jean Harlow. So that's pretty cool.
That's a nice pivot.
Isn't it nice? Yeah. And died at 96. So there we go.
So Betsy, I'm closer to Douglas and kin to Douglas.
And you're kin to Douglas. Okay.
And well, let me just see for me. Oh, Douglas is my closest at 15 degrees.
Okay.
His cousin. Yes, he is my cousin.
Okay.
And then McLarnon, where is he? Significantly farther, and not a cousin.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I think I scanned the chat. Mm-hmm. I did not see anyone say they were more closely connected to McLarnon.
Wow.
So I have 18-0.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, McLarnon. Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, the Canadian. Well.
Holler if I missed you, if you said you were closer to Jimmy. But
oh no. Let's see. What a beautiful profile, though. Let's look at his. I don't see ancestors there. If I go to his tree apps, let's switch to the fan chart. Oh, well, there we go. We just have his parents. We don't go further back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There we go. That would explain it.
There's a nice little project.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
Connected. There's no connections.
Yeah.
Let's connect that up. Yeah.
Connect-a-thon is coming up next month.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
We have a project for people. Okay. Last pair. Oh my goodness. Where's the last one? I just grouped them as fighters.
Okay.
It's because they both had to fight through their career. Not only in the ring, but outside. Jack Johnson, born 31st of March, 1878 in Galveston, Texas, passed away at age 68 on the 10th of June, 1946 in Raleigh, North Carolina. He was the Galveston Giant, the first Black world heavyweight boxing champion. And he competed during the Jim Crow era. So that's basically the era between the end of the Civil War, right, and the fight for rights. Martin Luther King.
It means he couldn't stay in the hotels or places where he fought.
Yeah.
And lots of other stuff. Yeah. Big time.
So he was born in 78. He was recorded in the census in 1900. It's a well done profile. Gives lots of details about his life and his boxing career. Outlines each of the major points. Fighting Tommy Burns, who was apparently a French Canadian. He was jailed. He was arrested for fighting in Texas because that was illegal to box in Texas at one point. There was lots of, and then when he won a fight and then won the title because of that, there was outrage that he had taken the title from a white person, of course, because this was during that time when that would not as kosher. And so there were people who got the title back. would fight him, so they get the title back. Did a little bit of wrestling, and then it goes through the details about his personal life. So he had lots of fights in his life. His personal life was not a pretty one either. Notable, but had a hard go. Mm-hmm. And the next guy, Lambertus Sternhorst van Klaveren, from the Netherlands, known as Bep, the Dutch windmill. Born as an illegitimate son of an innkeeper's daughter under the name Sternhorst, eventually took on the name of his mother's husband, who she married, I guess, after he was born. Worked as a butcher's boy and boxed in the spare time. And when he was 16, he started serious training and competing officially. Interesting, he became a vegetarian, even though he was a butcher's boy, feeling it would improve his boxing abilities. He was a flyweight and then won 3 titles of featherweight, had Olympic success in 1928, that is, and was presented to the Dutch Queen and her prince consort. There's a nice picture of him in his stance. And anyways, and the goes on to talk about he returned to America after World War II broke out, and then he fought his last bout in 1956. Ran a cigar shop, but failed as a businessman, unfortunately. So, and there's a statue of him in Rotterdam. So that's him. And how did our YouTubers, WikiTreeers do?
Seems a little light. Let's see, we had 10 for Jack Johnson. Mm-hmm. Mags also is closer to Johnson. And we had 2 for Bep, Joe, not surprisingly, and Susie Carta through her mother-in-law's Dutch ancestors.
Ah, neat.
Yeah, I thought that was.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And as for me, well, it was Johnson. Bep is my farthest. So
okay. And Jack Johnson wins this bout. And that is your profiles. That's your boxing wrap up for the week. And that's as close to sportscast as you'll ever hear from me, I'm afraid.
Well done, Greg.
There we go. Over to you, Betsy.
Okay. All right. Well, we have a new month. We have some ancestors to celebrate. We have some photos. The theme, actually, this goes very well. The theme is sports for March. A few photos. I apologize. I don't have a tip this week, but tips will be back next week. And so let's look at, actually, I don't want to do, let's look at the photos first. So I'll share and come back to you. Okay, good. So if you haven't had a chance to upload your favorite sport photo, I'll hyperlink this G2G post in my weekly post about the LiveCast. Alexis Nelson gave us this really great one. I'll make it a little bigger. Let's see, this was from October 1985. The sport is fly fishing. And this is her, let's see, Wayne Brown, her son, Mitch Nelson, Wayne Brown, and Wade Brown. Oh, Alexis's son, Mitch, and her husband, Mike. So looks like they're having a fun time out fly fishing at the White River in Arkansas, fishing for trout. Almost always successful in catching some, but most of the time they would throw them back in the river so that they could catch them another day. Mm-hmm. So, now this next one is from Yoke. Now this is really interesting. You know what? I'm gonna pull up the text on my iPad so that I can show you as much of the pictures as possible. Mm-hmm. So this is the 1950-51 season. her father's junior football team ended on top of their league with the same number of points as another league. So, of course, you needed a playoff game. The special thing was that this game was to be played at the Olympic Day in Amsterdam at the Olympic Stadium. So it was a one-day sports spectacle that showcased different sports with appearances of athletes like Fanny Blankers-Koen, the Dutch national football team, gymnastic demonstrations, an equestrian event, just a big deal. And this playoff football match. So the match ended in a series of ended in a draw. So they had to do a series of penalties to make the decision. And the way it was done then is these penalties were taken by one player of each team, not like a rotation of different players. So her father was the penalty taker for his team. And according to him, this might be a tall tale, he scored 22 times in a row. Woo! Before the other team missed, and they became champion.
Wow.
So, yeah, these are really spectacular.
Yeah. And her father is the tall guy. I read
that. Yes. Yes. That's important to know. Wow.
Yeah.
He's like full head over the others. Yeah, I'd want him on my team. He looks like a good athlete. So thank you, Yoke. And then let's see. Now there's Anne Fiordalisi put something on the free space page and described it on the G2G. So title is Historical Amateur Football Game 1931. This is Attilio Fiordalisi's furniture football team. They were the first amateur football team to play in the Cleveland Stadium. That's cool. Ooh. My grandfather is standing on the left with a hat on.
Okay, we don't see the picture for that.
Oh, sorry, because I'm not. There we go. How's that? Can you see it? Okay, standing on the left with a hat. Manager? So, maybe. I think Anne is in the chat, maybe. Well, since it was a team associated with the furniture store.
And he owned the furniture store?
Okay, so what she says is it was her grandfather's amateur football team and he sponsored it. So yes, I guess it's this gentleman here. Well, that's really neat.
That is neat.
Love that. All right. Well, thank you for sharing those, Yoke and Anne and Alexis, and keep them coming. We'll look at more next week. Moving over to Ancestors.
I like the water boys, the bottle boys, the water bottle boys.
I know.
Look in the middle there. Yes,
I noticed that too.
That's so cute.
Front and center. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a new month for the Ancestors. We have two, and I have a grandfather with a March birthday. So I'm gonna show his profile too. Let me just get organized here. So Judith Fry, I know Judith is in the chat with us, so that's great that you're able to be here while we look at your grandfather. Chauncey Walling Bradford, 1901. He actually both was born and died in March. Yeah. And there's a really special story that she shares in the G2G post. She said, I never got to meet him when he was alive, but I did meet him one time. Paradoxical. Okay. Here's what happened. In high school, I was having what are called panic attacks. One day, sitting on our front porch, I saw a man dressed in an old-fashioned style brown suit with bowler hat. I heard him say, "It's okay, you'll be fine." From that day on, the panic attacks were gone. I knew it was my grandfather. So, and after that, it sort of started a lifelong curiosity and quest to find out more about him from her grandmother and her mother. And she said that there's some people in the family now living who are spitting. Her middle brother is the spitting image of him, and they even have the same stance and expressions to them. And I think that's really cool when that happens in families.
Family resemblances are incredible.
Yeah.
Can I interject something really funny, real quick?
Please. Yeah.
I got into the elevator at Roots Tech, and there's a mother and a father and a daughter standing there. And I looked at the mother and daughter and I said, "Oh my gosh, I love genetic people who look so much alike each other, mother and daughter." And they all just burst out laughing. And the girl says, "Well, I'm adopted." But they did acknowledge that they looked a lot alike. And she said that the lady helping, or the person helping them with the adoption originally, said that the mother of the baby and the adoptive mother could have been sisters.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that Judith shared is that her mother's favorite memory of Chauncey was when they went to the library together every Saturday. It was their time together, and some of her earliest memories of her mom and her going to the library. Same things. And, there's a big love of books on her mother's side of the family, which I can relate to. I love books too. So there are some, I think there are some nice photos, as I recall. Yeah. Him and his brother. Yeah. And him and his wife. Or sister, I guess wife. And it had some. So thank you very much, Judith.
Nice.
Yeah. And then our second ancestor to celebrate was shared by Shonda Feathers. And this is her third great grandfather, John Henry Howell. Yep, you're seeing it. Good. Okay. He was born March 22nd, 1822. And I think it's really great that she got this photo of him. It's a little grainy, but it shows a likeness. So, she knows things about him, but it's a brick wall for her right now because she has not found his parents yet. And so she's working on that. She said she's undertaken a big DNA research project to try and break that down. He was a coal miner in Ohio, and also served in the 15th Regiment in the Civil War. Yeah, 15th Regiment, Ohio Infantry. And this regiment was considered one of the very best in the service, as they were in the heat of conflict and saw many battles. And he and his son both served in that infantry and both survived. So they lived, after the war, they lived briefly in Illinois, but then came back to Ohio, and that's where he lived out the rest of his life. I also thought that this was wonderful. Have this clipping of his obituary.
Nice.
Yeah. So Shonda, good luck with the brick wall.
I have a question. I have a question about that profile. Scroll back up real quick.
I'm going to return to the profile. Okay.
Right. There you go. Well, there's been a lot of conversations. Scroll down a bit. There's been a lot of conversations about whether people should use tables or not use tables. I'm pro table, and I especially like the way these tables look without the borders.
Yes.
Being a visual learner, I like seeing things in a way that I can separate the stuff from it. Don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think these tables look fabulous.
They do. They do look very nice.
I agree. And I like the fact that Shonda's added in notes, annotations to highlight certain things. I had a question, though. In the 1850 census, the relationships within the household are not defined, right? Isn't still have to infer?
Well, it says relation, wife, son. Son.
Yeah, I
In
just
the 1850? Yes, it does say it.
It does. Okay. Yeah.
Shonda is a graphics pro.
Yeah. Maybe we could find out how to accomplish these. Maybe that would be a good tip for next.
Yeah. Well, there is the table maker now as part of the WikiTree browser extension. I wonder if she used that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's good. And also to see it without the borders makes it look so much cleaner.
You're right. Because normally when I add tables, or I've seen tables that's with the border, and just removing those lines, it's still visibly, you can still parse it visually, but it's not. There's something nicer about it.
Yeah.
Great work, Shonda.
And I like how you move the sticker that's to the relevant portion of the bio. Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Yes, I agree. All right. And last, I thought I'd share my grandfather. And look at this. I'm having issues with the wallpaper on this. And now it's displaying exactly the way I want it to. So I will explain. So this, does everybody see this? The scroll? Yeah. So thank you. He did this. That was his hobby, was Chinese calligraphy. And so I used the scroll as the wallpaper for the profile. But the bit on the right, and this is his name, and this is his chop stamp, which is, just a stylized version of his name. This doesn't always show. It's like, and I don't understand why it's so random.
What a beautiful, beautiful profile.
Yeah.
Thank you. So his birthday would have been tomorrow, 1896, born in Taipei. And he was a doctor. He was the son of a flower farmer, which I find charming. And
whoa, a flower farmer.
Yes.
He grew flowers, or
he grew flowers.
Wheat for flower. That is so cool.
I know. It's
wow.
Yeah. Makes me think of him bringing beauty into the world.
I was going to say, what a great life of beauty. That's so cool.
Yeah. But my grandfather was definitely the one of the children who is just really, he had this like interest in academics. And so he went on to study medicine. The family was one of the early Christian families in Taipei. So this is cool that, are you seeing the certificate? Yeah. This is his baptismal certificate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it reads from right to left. So it starts over here. I know that this is his name. And so this must be his father and his mother. So it's one of my cousins passed this on to me, and just sort of just casually one day, oh, here, you might like this.
Yeah.
I said, are you kidding me? What? You have to translate the whole thing for me. So it was really great to have that. And the other thing that he did, which I thought was very meaningful, was he helped at the leprosy colony in Taiwan, north of the city. He both, practiced and helped the patients, as well as serving on the board of directors. So I think this photo is so interesting because, you all know my name is Ko, which is how my dad decided to spell it coming to the United States. But you can see here that this is my grandfather here. I know it's him, but it's a different transliteration, Gua, which is how you would say the name in Taiwanese. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you got a comment from Vicky here that says she doesn't like to use wallpapers, but it looks awesome, Betsy, especially knowing that he made it.
Yeah.
And you've got other love coming your way too, Betsy. This profile really adds a global perspective to WikiTree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to look at the family resemblance. I don't want to be the eyes. I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to meet him a lot because we live so far away, but a couple of times he came to visit. So we got on great. Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice. Oh my gosh, you look like you're in love.
So, anyway, there we have our ancestors for March, but we have several more weeks of March. So I know there are more out there.
We
Let
do.
us know who they are.
Don't tell Canada that because it'll snow.
Oh no.
I can't share my screen without going crazy. So I'm going to say there's lots of stuff in the G2G post. If you check the G2G post, Alan the Elf has great information posted. If you want to look up the social media stuff this week, you can do that by going to the ambassadors project, scroll down. You can check out the social media links. And also, I noticed today that the Genealogy Squad had posted. Let me grab this for you guys and see if I can do that without knocking us off line here. Here we go. It is Genealogy Day.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I didn't.
That's crazy.
Oh. Was it? So October is Family History Month.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think I do remember that Genealogy Day is its own thing and it's in March. So
it's today, and we celebrated it so well without even knowing, really. I promised to have my technical issues settled by next week. The link kind of broke, Mag. Sorry. Run over to the Genealogy Squad Facebook page. I grabbed it from there, so you can check it. And otherwise, we will see you next Saturday at the same time, same place. And my technical issues and hopefully my health issues will be cleared up by then.
Yes.
Have a great week, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.